Welcome to Six's Overdrive, everybody. You might have caught a sneak peek at that motorbike in the background. We're going to do an unveiling of that, but first, we're going to take a look at the Timberline 850 grill by Traeger. I bought it with my own money, so you get a real review and how it worked and everything you need to do to get the thing running. So let's go do all of this. While I'm getting the camera set up on the deck, why don't we look at some of the Traeger promo videos that they have running out so you get a little bit of an idea of what they're trying to promote with this thing. As you'll be able to tell just by looking at this video, there's a little bit of a time continuity problem. When I first got this Traeger grill, it was before my bike trip in September, and now we're into October. It's only about 2 weeks to Halloween. All the geese are flying south for the winter. You'll hear a lot of that honking around while I'm talking about this grill. Okay guys, so let's get into this Timberline 850 and try to justify the cost of, their starting lineup is in the $1,200 range, and this sucker here is $2,500. Well, you can buy two of those for the price of this one. So I'll go through them and we'll see if it's worth it to you. First off, let me say that I live in Canada, way in the central Canada, on the prairies. It gets cold. It goes down to -40, goes up to +40. In a given day, we can have 20 degrees Celsius temperature fluctuations, and that's crazy. So you need something that's going to be well insulated, and that's the #1 purchase consideration when I was looking at this grill. It's got double wall construction all the way through. When you lift up the handle, you'll notice right away that it's heavy. Compared to the other grills, like it weighs 3 times the weight. But that's because it's all double lined and it's got all of this padding around this heat insulation, double walls inside all the way through. So this thing regulates heat really well. It doesn't allow the cold or the hot to get in there and manage your temperature settings and make them fluctuate wildly. When you get the regular Traeger grills, my father-in-law has one, and what you'll find is if it's a windy, cold day, it has a hard time keeping up. This one here so far that I've tried, and I've tried it in sleet and wintry weather and everything, it hasn't had that problem. It runs pretty good. The temperature fluctuations are within 10 degrees and I can handle that, and it seems to catch up no problem. One of the biggest features of this, besides those double side walls, is the electric brushless motor. And it's variable speed, so it can speed up and slow down the fans and heating processes to make these pellets a lot more consistent. And it's going to last longer. Brushless motors are just better motors when it comes to electrical motors. Third is a one-piece auger. That auger should be as bulletproof as you need it for doing nothing but settling pellets down into a flame chute. Wifire technology is another thing that they have, which means you can control everything from your phone. Now there's only one thing that bugs me a little bit about the Wifire technology, and that's the fact that you can't actually start the barbecue from somewhere else. You can do everything else, but it would have been nice to have even a passcode or something. Traeger, if you're listening, put a little passcode in there. If you have the barbecue ready to go, you should be able to punch in a code or something, light the thing up, get home, and start your cooking. It's got the 20-pound hopper, so this thing here, when you open it up and put one of these bags in, takes the whole bag, and then a little bit too, because you can have it at the bottom and fill this up to the top, and that's really nice. One note on that, when you're using other pellets, apparently with the Traeger smokers, you're only supposed to be able to use the Traeger pellets to keep your warranty. The other grills don't do that, Traeger. It's just you. It's just you. I would suggest you change that in the future. I think you guys got a bulletproof machine. I think it's just kind of chintzy that you're doing that to people so that they have to keep the warranty on the machine. So are you guys anxious to see some of the stuff I've cooked on this thing? It's been a fun time. because everything I've cooked on this thing, anybody who's tried it, the comments are literally, that is the best insert what I cooked here that I've ever had. And I'm kidding you not, it is. So let's get some video footage of all the stuff that I've cooked and what we've done with it, and I'll go through what I've cooked. The first thing I ever cooked on this thing was chicken thighs, and they turned out gorgeous. Dripping, full of moisture, nice crispy skin on the outside. The rubs work really good from Traeger. Very tasty. So the other thing I cooked was a pot roast. The pot roast was delicious. It was a fairly cheap pot roast, but it ended up tasting like prime rib. It was so nice and tender. Used the beef rub for that one. Then I did a whole chicken. Whole chicken, just popped it in. Took about 70 minutes on the grill. That worked out really nice. Again, when I took it off the grill and cut into the thing, it just poured out liquid. You really have to let this stuff sit for a while after you've cooked it, like a good 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes even. Because the thing is still cooking inside, because it just gets that internal smoke going, seals it in, and all the juices just keep getting hotter and hotter as you leave it out. So you really got to watch that so it just doesn't open up all over the place. Let's see, we did a whole brisket. Now that's 13 hours worth of using your grill and a whole lot of cleanup after, let me tell you. But that brisket was delicious. We actually had 2 of them. We had about 20 people over, and I had leftovers for a week, and still 4 or 5 days later with that brisket, it was still so tender and juicy. It was unbelievable. So good. I did frozen hamburgers on it. Now, frozen hamburgers aren't as nice actually in some ways as the propane grill. Now, the reason why is just because it takes longer. You got to preheat the grill, and then it takes you a little bit longer to cook the burgers, but they are better. They're way better. The other thing is it's not the best at searing, right? So you can turn it up, but that takes a long time. I just take a pan inside or something. We've got cast iron grills, and I put the sear marks in the steak and just put the flavor in that way, and then cook it out on here for like 5 minutes, and you get a nice medium rare. The temperature probe, you just stick that in and you can be ready. 135 is medium rare steak. If that's the way you like it, you put it on there. But the steaks and the hamburgers and all that kind of stuff that you just throw on take a little bit longer. Much better, much better. Last but not least, just the other night we had baby back ribs, and oh, they were good. They were so good. Put the ribs on for 2 hours, and then I took them off and put them on super smoke mode. So we got them all smoked up and good, and then we put them down on tin foil, and we put brown sugar and butter and honey, and then a little more rub sauce on that, and then we sealed it all up, and we put it in for another 2 hours at about I think it was about 250, 260. They came out and they were fall off the bone perfect. Beautiful. Everything we've done on this thing is beautiful. And I just thought I'd tell you what I did on it so that you know that I have tried everything on this thing. This is an exhaustive review. I don't think a lot of people have done that much meat in 4 months. But we got it hooked up for you. Whew. Last night a storm came in, just like I was telling you guys, a 20-degree temperature swing. Like, we literally went from about 12 degrees to minus 10 in a matter of hours, from about 5 p.m. last night till midnight. And it just moved in. Look at my poor little Traeger grill here. But I've got a whole bunch of people coming over waiting to have some ribs later on today. So this thing is gonna have to do a super smoke temperature. Like, check out that wind. Check it out, it's storming out. It is super windy right now, over 50 kilometer-an-hour winds. It's minus 12 with the wind chill. And I've got to somehow get all the snow off of this baby, put some ribs on, maintain a smoke temperature. We're gonna see if this thing can do it. If it can do it, it's the best smoker in the world right now. This baby kept up the whole day. It's been 4.5, coming on to 5 hours of smoking and cooking this thing up, and as you can see by the temperature, whoosh. My sweet heat ribs will be right away. I've got it set for 275 degrees and it's kept up the whole day. What an amazing machine. That's really good. Smokers don't do that, especially in super smoke mode where you're doing 220 degrees. It's really hard for it to keep that kind of heat, but still keep the smoke going through everything. Big success. Can't wait to try them out. So how did it work after all that? It worked flawlessly. Everything's worked perfect. You're gonna have to prime the thing when you get it, and there's instructions for how to do that. You're turning the heat up in the thing and just letting it run for a half hour or so, and that gets all the smoke taste and gets all the little chemicals they use for packaging it off it, same as you do in a gas barbecue. But I've never had a problem with the auger jamming up or anything. I'm pretty careful with my pellets, but everything's really good. Like, it works flawlessly. I haven't had a problem with it. Other people have. I've seen reviews where people have had problems and had to back up the auger and do a few little tricks to get error messages, but so far no big deal. It is a little bit of a pain to clean up, and I really think a person should clean this thing a little more regularly than what you do a gas barbecue. One of the other things I should really tell you about is every 10 hours or so, you got to clean this grill out. It's really cold to be telling you this today. I figured out that I better tell you guys about this because it's different than a gas barbecue. It takes about half an hour, and you're going to need a little vacuum cleaner to get it going. And you're going to have to do that about every 10 hours worth of cooking time, because those pellets, they all soot up and they leave debris behind. Plus you got a whole bunch of grease and everything in all your trays, so it's good to clean it out from time to time, and it is a little bit of a pain in the butt doing it. I'll leave you some footage and show you what that all looks like. One of the last but not least features that this has that's better than the other Traeger grills is the clean out for the pellets in the back. There's a little trap door back here, and that little trap door, you just open it and all the pellets come right out of the thing. You just hold a little bucket there and you can change your pellets. So it's so much easier to change pellets in this thing, so that you can go from like a hickory to a whatever, chipotle or something like that, and then you get different flavors for different meats. That works really nice. And it's also got a nice trap door for the grease pan instead of the old bucket hanging off the thing blowing away in the wind. And it is getting windy. I apologize if my audio is a little bit off right now, but it's getting windy out here and really cold. Hands are freezing. So in summary, did I like this Traeger grill? I love it. I love it. The only thing I don't know if I could justify is the $2,500 price tag. To me, that's steep. But honestly, it's working as promised. Everything on this thing is working exactly the way I want it to work, and that's what I bought it for, right? For my weather conditions, for what I need it for. Do you need it if you're in California and the weather's a lot more consistent?
So where are you headed?
Aspen.
California. Beautiful.
Maybe you should go for a cheaper one but I'd get the Wifire technology. It's kind of nice to have. I mean, when you're sitting downstairs watching a movie and that probe goes off and tells you that you have to come up, like instead of checking it every 5 minutes to see, that's nice. That's really nice. So that's what you have to justify. If your weather conditions are good and everything, you might not need this, but this might be the only thing you can get that has this type of temperature modulation in it. It really keeps consistent temperatures, and it's really well made for extreme temperature fluctuation. That's what it's good for. And for windy days and stuff like that, it seals everything inside and works exactly as advertised. So I'm going to give this thing my thumbs up. And I'm just looking forward to cooking more meat on it. Anyway, guys, remember to share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Six's Overdrive, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye.